So hello everyone. Welcome to our basic needs campaign. Um, our campaign hashtag is prioritize my needs, CUNY, and we'll be just discussing a little bit about basic needs and what we're going to be talking about today. Our agenda for today is we'll first be going over group introductions. And once we're done with that, we'll be doing a little word cloud discussing what you think basic needs are. Then we'll talk a little bit about what exactly housing, food, and health issues are and like address them a little bit, talk about them a little bit. Once we're done with that, our campaign and our group created a few basic needs skits that will be just acting out for you guys live. Once we're done with those skits, we'll be going over some basic needs scenarios so that we can show you, so that we can talk about what should be done in the case whenever, if you're talking to someone that is going through any of these issues. Once we're done with that, we'll be going over some student testimonies, some like just students and their experiences, what they went through when it comes to food security, insecurity, housing insecurity, and mental health issues on their campuses. And after we're done with that, we'll be going over some policies and initiatives that can help students that are experiencing these issues. And once we're done with that, we will be talking about how you, the audience, can help in these situations and what you can do to advocate for these issues. And lastly, we'll be answering any questions you may have. And that's it for today. So let's first meet the team. Hi, my name is Shekinah Green, and I'm the campaign manager for our campaign. I am a junior at CUNY Lehman, currently studying sociology and political science.
Thank you, Shekinah. Hi, my name is Naomi Ayer. I am the consumer ed and comms lead for our campaign, and currently I'm a junior at CUNY Brooklyn College and I'm studying psychology.
Thank you, Naomi. My name is Adrian De La Cruz. I'm the trained consumer ed lead and I'm attending at Queens College, majoring in graphic design.
Hi guys, I'm Aaliyah and I currently attend IU University in Brooklyn. I'm studying nursing. And I am the policy lead for our team.
Hey everyone, my name is Yati Fernandez and I currently go to Lehman College. I recently just changed my major to public health and promotion and I am the engagement and field lead.
So we'll first be doing our little word cloud. So the question is, what comes to mind when you hear the term basic needs? And you can join this word cloud by scanning our QR code, by entering this number, this code on the screen onto slido.com, or you can use the link. And please share your thoughts on what you think basic needs is. So I have to stop share for a little bit so we can look at the word cloud. And I will share the word cloud screen. So here's currently what we said, housing, food, water, okay, survival. Okay, shelter. Community, okay. Security, okay, that's a good one. Resources, necessary, yeah. These are all very good words. Water, okay. Resources, okay. This hierarchy of needs, yeah. Essential life, yes. Stability, success, sleep. Sleep is a good one. Mental health. Okay. these are all really great. So I will be closing the poll in 3, 2, 1. Now let me stop sharing my screen so I can go back to the slides. Okay. So those were all really good words for basic needs, but we're going to go over some basic needs right now.
So in our campaign, when we talk about basic needs, we're referring to food insecurity, mental health, housing insecurity, and many college students struggle and still have not had these needs met. And so in today's webinar, we'll be discussing why these things are important to have and how we can support our college students and communities and so.
So in terms of housing, so we know that young adults, including those attending college, are experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity in the last 12 months. And I will point some facts that we have. So one of them are have trouble paying rent, live in the overcrowded conditions to afford rent, were forced to move frequently, stay in a shelter, double up with others due to a lack of housing or funds, staying at motel or hotel with no permanent resident, slept on public transit or in cars, slept on the street or outdoors, and live in other unsafe or unstable conditions. Next slide, please. So here's a graphic that we have for you guys, and it's about students experience housing security and homelessness. So the red part represents experience housing insecurity, and the blue part represents experience homelessness. And so according to this, 58% say that they have lived away from parents because it was unsafe for them. Next slide, please. So how can students focus on their studies when they don't have a safe place to sleep at night?
Thank you, Adrian, for that detailed explanation of the conditions that homeless students live under. And on that note, we'll be discussing the next basic need, which is food insecurity. Food insecurity can be defined as a lack of availability of access to food resources. Examples of food insecurity follows with a student not having enough money to buy stuff for their siblings, but they still sacrifice themselves and choose not to eat so their family can eat. And food insecurity can be caused by income, race, ethnicity, disability, employment, and other facts. And the COVID-19 pandemic has shed even more light on the financial strain students have, especially for students that fall under the categories listed previously. In a survey conducted by Healthy CUNY in April 2020, 50% of CUNY students reported worrying that they would run out of food before they could buy more. So basically, students who were food insecure will report higher dropout rates, delays in graduation, or they will testify to struggling to finish their schoolwork. And this report is even more worrisome, knowing that in 2018, 48% of CUNY senior college students and 51% of CUNY community college students experienced food insecurity. And that 45% of SUNY community college students had difficulty focusing in class because they were hungry. So the question is, what can be done to help those who are struggling with food insecurity? Well, SNAP, also known as Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which was also known as food stamps before, is a federal government program that provides food purchasing assistance to low-income and no-income people and families, which includes college students. Yet college students' participation in SNAP appears to be lower than the other populations in the demographic. Well, you might ask, what are the barriers that are presented for college students to attain SNAP at CUNY and SUNY colleges? Despite CUNY and SUNY students needing SNAP, at CUNY less than half of SNAP eligible students receive benefits. At SUNY, only 23% of eligible students have even considered enrolling. However, recent changes in SNAP policies and requirements has expanded eligibility to thousands of low-income students. Yet there are low-income students who aren't able to get SNAP if they're enrolled full-time as a college student. Some exemptions include working at least 20 hours a week, caring for a child, being unable to work, and other reasons. Also, full-time college students that don't receive SNAP testify that the complicated rules and the work requirements prevents them from being eligible. So CUNY and SUNY colleges need to advocate for ending SNAP restrictions for college students. Next slide, please. In a secondary analysis of the CUNY-wide student survey, MPH alumna and lead author Emily Berger, doctoral student Jenna Larson, associate professor Heidi Jones, and distinguished professor Nick Frudenberg explored the association between food insecurity and the impact of COVID-19 on educational outcomes and tested whether anxiety and depression mediated this relationship. Students who are food insecure were more likely to experience disruptions to their educational experience, reporting higher rates of being unable to do their schoolwork, dropping or withdrawing from classes, and anticipating delays in their graduation. There was some evidence that food insecurity may lead to anxiety and or depression, with both affecting students' ability to do schoolwork and depression also affecting potential delays in graduation. So in our upcoming testimonies and in our policies that Aaliyah will discuss, we'll see how we can address those type of struggles that food insecure students deal with. Next slide. Okay, so this is a question for all the participants. You could either put this in the chat or you could decide to unmute yourself. So the question is, how can students focus on college success if they don't know where their next meal is coming from? So do you know anybody or have you personally experienced this yourself where you didn't know if you could have enough money to pay for food bills or groceries? You could put this in the chat or you can unmute. If not, we can move on.
Thank you, Naomi. With that being said, lack of resources for these college students can have a barrier in these students' ability to pursue higher education. For some students, they have academic requirements depending on their major, such as internships or scholarship programs. For example, the ACE and the SEEK program, all of these programs have requirements for GPA or attendance. Having outside barriers will only cause more stress and lack of opportunity to finish school. According to a study conducted by CUNY, the mental health and social problems that many college students face are closely intertwined. Anxiety and depression rates are rising. 49% of CUNY students reported an increased need in mental health support during the pandemic. Next slide. Thank you. At many of New York colleges, there are not enough mental health counselors on campus to meet students' needs. Despite the high need for mental health support, the current state of mental health counseling on CUNY campuses remains subpar. As of October 2020, the staffing ratio of mental health counselors to CUNY and SUNY students is approximately 1 to ratio 2,400. At one CUNY college, it was reported that the ratio went up to 1 to ratio 6,900. So here we have a question. How can students do well in school if their mental health needs aren't being met? So if somebody wants to type it in the chat, that's perfectly fine, and give your response. If not, we can move on to the next slide. Okay. Many college students experience housing insecurity, food insecurity, and mental health related issues that heavily affect their academics and college life. Yet too many don't receive the support they need from their college campuses. There's not enough resources being supported. A lot of students don't know about the college campus, the counseling office. Some counseling offices are free. You just have to walk in. A lot of people don't know about food pantry or ACE or SEEK programs that can really help them succeed in their college and pursue a higher education. Okay, now we have another question. Have you or someone you know ever experienced or endured something similar? So same thing, if you guys want to type it in the chat, raise your hands.
Okay, so now we're gonna do some of the skits that me and my campaign group created. So the first skit is about what not to do when it comes to mental health issues that students are dealing with. This will be acted out live by Yatsi and Adrian. Yatsi is a student and Adrian is the student's friend. So the idea is a student has been diagnosed with schizophrenia and is experiencing symptoms that don't allow her to function at a productive level. She is seeking support from CUNY on how to finish pursuing her higher education. However, she feels as if she isn't being supported during a very vulnerable time in her life.
Okay. Hi, I'm here for a college advising appointment. Are you the advisor, Miss Johnson?
Yes. Oh, yes, I am. What seems to be the problem?
I'm having some financial and personal issues that are getting in the way of my education.
Okay. What are the issues and how are they affecting your education?
I was recently diagnosed with schizophrenia and my mental health has hit an all-time low. I'm struggling to do normal things like homework, showering, and even brushing my teeth.
I see. Are you planning on registering for classes next semester?
I would like to, but being schizophrenic is taking a toll on me and my financial aid doesn't cover my school tuition and fees. How do I cover the rest? I can't afford to pay out of pocket.
Um, how hard is your skin,
Schizophrenia.
schizophrenia affecting you?
I struggle to complete assignments because of my hallucinations and delusions. And by the time it stops, I finally get under control. I'm too mentally exhausted to do anything else but sleep.
You seem fine to me.
Yes, I seem fine right now, but my symptoms can pop up at any moment. I can have an episode a second from now. I'm not on my meds right now because I can't afford to pay it on my own. So I'm waiting for my insurance to refill my prescription.
Well, how are you going to get your work done if you can barely function?
That's why I'm here. I need your help. I need you to help me to apply. I need you to help me to apply to classes that will accommodate me and help me get a spot at the counseling center to better control my mental health.
But how exactly will that work if you have an episode in class or during your counseling meeting, you're being danger to everyone else?
That's not how schizophrenia works. And two, that's why I'm also here, so that the situation doesn't happen and so my symptoms don't get worse.
In my professional opinion, I think you should focus on your mental health rather than your education. We have 80% average graduation rate, and it looks like majority of your graduating class on their way being successful. We would like to keep those successful rates up.
Are you kidding me? That's not fair. I deserve just as much of a chance to succeed as any other student at this school. How can I be successful if you won't even help me?
My job is to aid students in being successful in their programs and course. How can you be successful if you are not your right mind enough to do your work?
Wow, this is ridiculous. I can't.
Okay, that was our mental health skit, what not to do. This is our what not to do skit for food insecurity and will be played by Naomi, Aaliyah, and myself. Naomi is a student, Aaliyah is a student's friend, and I'm the receptionist. The idea is that a student is called out by a receptionist for going to the pantry more than once in a month. They are caught asking their friend to use their visit to the pantry and are berated by the receptionist in charge.
Hey, I'm going to volunteer at the food pantry for 30 minutes, so if you need to leave, it's okay.
Nah, it's fine. I have nowhere to go. In fact, why don't I help?
No. No, I mean, they have specific days for sign up sheets. You can sign up later though.
Oh, right. That makes sense. I'll just stay here and do my assignments.
Okay, cool. I'll see you in a bit.
See ya.
Inside the food pantry building. Hi, how are you? I've completed the form.
It shows that you've already been here already this month.
I know, but I really need the extra groceries. My mom got laid off of work because of her sickness, and I'm doing my best to balance work with being a full-time student while making sure that I put food on my 4 siblings' plate.
As much as I'd like to help, there are other people at this food pantry that struggle with similar situations, yet they come here once a month.
Please, I promise I'll just be this once. I can use some next month's pass.
I'm sorry that it doesn't work that way. Now, please excuse me. There are other people waiting in line.
Outside of the food pantry building, the poor student walks out embarrassed and teary-eyed as eyes follow them out the building.
What's wrong? Are you okay?
No, I haven't been completely honest with you.
About what?
Well, my mom has been laid off from work, so it's been really tough having to take care of my siblings and her. Also, I don't volunteer at the food pantry.
Girl, why didn't you tell me before? I'm your friend, but listen, whatever you need, I got you.
Nah, I couldn't take anything from you, but you can do me a favor.
Yeah, anything.
I already used up my pass to get groceries. I was wondering if you can use up your pass to get me food from the pantry.
Yeah, of course. I'll be right back.
The student's friend heads back from the pantry. As she gives the groceries to the poor undergraduate student, the receptionist shows up.
What are you doing? I already told you you can't use next month's pass this semester.
She didn't. I used my pass. It's not a big deal.
You should be ashamed of yourself, stealing from the pantry. I should file a complaint.
Stealing? The receptionist makes a scene and snatches the food. Everyone on campus stares. I'm never showing my face on campus ever again.
Thanks a lot.
So now that we've gone over what not to do in situations where students are experiencing either food insecurity or mental health issues, we want to know, what do you think and New York City can do to help, and what do you think should be done in these scenarios? Like, so for the first scenario, a student is forced to leave his home because he is experiencing domestic abuse and is now homeless. He has been looking for help for the past few months, but is struggling due to being undocumented and not fluent in English. So you can write this in the chat, or you can raise your hand or unmute. And what do you think New York should do better to help this student, or what should be done as opposed to what not should be done?
You guys can type it in the chat and we'll try to read at least one or two answers out loud.
Oh, sorry, I can't see the chat, so I don't know if anyone's commented or anything, but
Not yet, but we can move on to the next to give them some more time.
okay. So scenario 2. A student is experiencing mental health symptoms that are negatively affecting her academics. She isn't sure what to do about her symptoms and is concerned she might not pass her classes this semester because of it. So for scenario 2, you could write in the chat, or you could unmute. What do you think should happen? What can New York City do, or New York in general, do to help the student in this situation? Like, what should be done as opposed to what not should be done? And then I'll just read scenario 3 as well. A student has recently had to spend a huge amount of money to fix a car that they use to get to school and work, and now cannot afford to buy groceries. They are extremely worried about how they're going to eat for the next week. So again, what do you think New York can do to help this student in this scenario? What can their college campus do? What should be done and what should not be done? Let me know.
I think somebody answered for scenario 1. They said perhaps a one-stop resource center where New Yorkers can go no matter what challenges they are facing, and one informed and compassionate person can tell them everything they are eligible for through NYC services. And she also said that she thinks that Japan does something like this also. So New
Okay.
York should also implement this.
Yeah, that's actually a real good deal. And some CUNY campuses do have something like that. It's called a single stop. Not all of them have it, but some of them do have a single stop where they can go for all their issues, legal issues, housing issues, like all the issues you could possibly think of. They could stop and go there and get help. So yeah, it would be nice if there was a one-stop shop for everything.
Right,
Um,
Sean in the comments said it sounds like the single stop resource center that
yeah,
talking about. And he says, unfortunately, that CUNY contacts we was ended in 2020, and CUNY remains underfunded to replace all these services themselves. And so even though we have these resources in place, it's not being upkept. So there's no upkeeping to it. And so we need these resources to keep it going.
yep, yep, that's true.
I'll just read a few more. A person said there should be easily accessible and free lunch foods resources on campus in order for lower accessible barriers for students experiencing any form of food insecurity. So having free lunches on campus. Okay. Um, it also says decentralizing is helpful so that there are many locations of aid training and resources for communities to lift up mutual aid. For example, small pantries in different public spaces where people can easily bring extra groceries when they are out and about in the city. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah, okay. That was great. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, so I will be reading an anonymous testimony from a Hunter College student. So they told me that they got homeless about a little more than a month ago because sanitation workers considered my house unsafe because of the space heaters. But I found a house now. So basically, because of the aftermath of like the scenario where there was like a massive like Bronx fire in the building because it wasn't safe, they've been more strict, especially sanitation workers for buildings. So they kicked her family out, but that shouldn't excuse the fact that it displaced the family, and it's not their job to ensure that the building is safe. So it's really sad that she went through those unsafe housing conditions and that she was homeless. And she basically went on about how she felt like she was too poor to afford anything. She didn't even know she deserved to live a normal life, and she didn't know what to do with her mental health right now. And she felt like getting help feels like too much work, and she kept wanting to go deeper and deeper into isolation. So this testimony basically shows how like low income to no income homeless students are more vulnerable to developing mental health issues, and there needs to be more light shed on this, because I feel like a lot of statistics are underreported about how many homeless students are actually at CUNY colleges, which could lead to the lack of funding that goes into mental health resources and programs. And yeah, next slide, please.
So I interviewed a friend of mine at Queen's College. His name is Wilson Dime, and basically he shared to me that he was very blessed that he lived in a stable house where he can live in peace. But he also mentioned that he knows that there are some students who don't have the same privilege, and also he's pretty sure that having issues at home and also attend at school, it's very tough and very difficult. And yeah, he knows some experience, and I mean his friends experience, and yeah.
Thank you, Adrian. This student attended Brooklyn College, and she said that it was difficult to contact for mental health assistance. It took them months for them to even reach back, but by then she didn't really care anymore. And they mentioned that if you need help, you have to contact them, but they aren't doing enough. So basically, this also connects to the previous testimony with the other Hunter College student, because when she contacted Hunter's emergency fund, they didn't respond at all, even though she put a lot of effort into contacting them. And even though she filled out the emergency funding form, and didn't submit for a reason, even though she emailed directly and tried to talk to them, they were very dismissive. So I just feel like with and both of these students are people of color, they're also low income. And statistics shows that students of color are more likely to be ignored when they're in need or when they're having mental health issues. So I feel like there needs to be more policies that are needed to address what could be done to close the mental health care gap for low income students of color, especially considering like there's like a low ratio of students per counselor. And Aaliyah will go more into that in her policies as well. Next slide, thank you.
Okay, so I asked two friends of mine that go to Lehman College as well. The first one, her name is Rita. It was definitely stressful transferring to a new school. It was hard to navigate and explore the campus. I still don't feel confident enough on campus. It's been harder to find my sense of belonging on campus. So basically her situation was she went to college in Puerto Rico. She graduated, she did all her credits, and then I think she wanted to come to New York. I think she either wanted to do her master's or she didn't finish her undergrad, but I'm pretty sure she finished and she just wanted to do her master's. Unfortunately, the credits did not transfer and she had to start all over again from scratch. And it was very stressful for her. None of her credits transferred. She really tried advocating for herself and it didn't work. She's currently in a social work program right now, and she was still having issues as well trying to get in this program, which was very unfortunate. Another good friend of mine, her name is Fahima. She is currently in the SEEK program, which helps low-income students. She wrote, trying to balance my personal and college life has always been hard. I have to work 4 times harder than the average white man to even be able to live somewhere stable. Lately, I have seen an increase in my stress and anxiety levels, and I find myself crying more than usual. So she's currently in the SEEK program at Lehman, which helps her out a lot. And she also has financial aid. But she does have to balance a lot on her work. She has a lot on her plate to balance because her parents do not speak English. She is a daughter of 2 immigrant parents, and unfortunately, they do not speak English. So she has to translate everything, and that's just a lot of stress for her.
So some of the policies that we've discussed as a group that will further help and put into action some of the problems that we presented today are the Support the Hunger-Free Campus Act, invest in campus mental health counseling, and create on-campus liaisons who support students experiencing homelessness. Next slide. The first one is the Hunger Free campaign, which focuses on funding college students so they are able to provide and start meal donation programs, establish food pantries, and create SNAP enrollments. Next slide. This one deals with mental health, and this policy advocates for an increased investment in mental health counseling on public college campuses and guarantees that at least 1 counselor for every 1,000 students, with priority of hiring more Black and Brown counselors. These additional counselors can help sustain virtual mental health services during the pandemic and after. Next slide. The final policy that we came up with, it will help students navigate financial aid process and existing campus resources while collecting critical information about the number of students experiencing homelessness on campus. States like California, Maine, Tennessee have all passed these legislations creating liaisons to help unhoused college students. And so New York needs to follow suit and do the exact same thing. Next slide. So by uplifting and advocating for these policies, we can urge New York and the government altogether to prioritize our needs and to help college students all over NYC receive campus college support for their basic needs. Next slide.
Okay, so now we're going to go over how you, the audience, can help. So one thing you could do is share our campaign hashtag, which is hashtag prioritize my needs and why, on social media, your social media accounts, on whatever you can, it would like help advocate for these issues and just help spread the word. The second thing you could do is share your experiences and thoughts on our survey, which will be linked below in the comments. And that way you can just help share more about these issues and help people understand that it's more than just like, it's not something one student is going through. There's a lot of people experiencing and going through these issues, and to shed light to this so that more people know about it. And the last thing you could do, which you can't really do right now, but you can upvote and comment on our Reddit post on r/CUNY. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get approval for our posts within that time, so we weren't able to post it, but please be on the lookout for it because we will be trying to post it soon. And yeah, that's what you can do to help. And the end. Thanks for listening. Any questions? Let me stop share so I can see the chat. Okay, so there's one, wait. I don't know if this is a question, but oh, someone says, can folks write to elections? Oh, elected officials about bills. Yes, yes, you can. You can do that. That's another way you can help spread the word and advocate for these issues. You can write to and contact your elected officials about these issues so that they know about it and they can vote on it and they can do a bunch of stuff so we can change and make things better for everyone.
There was a question in the Q&A part.
Okay.
It says, what are your recommendations for making all these resources on campus more widely known about? Yeah, so like, what do we recommend in terms of making these resources known to students and people on campus?
I personally would recommend, again, spreading the word on social media. That's the best way, in my opinion, to get to young people and make things known about it. So like as our post on r/CUNY, but it's unfortunately not there, but you can post on r/CUNY and talk about these issues so that more people know about it. And even on other college subreddits and other college forums, you can post about these issues and spread the word. You can also share your story, share your experiences, your friends' experiences, if they are willing to share those experiences, to just help people know that they're not alone in this. Does anyone else have any other recommendations?
Yeah, like word of mouth is always good. Like if you know somebody who's been through this, or you know somebody like somebody who's been through this, and like that there are resources on campus that may help, or you just have somebody to refer them to, just like word of mouth is like the easiest thing that we can do, like literally every day, to help students. So anything can help, so just assist when you can.
Yep. Any other questions? Do you know if CUNY uses social media to advertise basic needs services? Do they have a TikTok, IG? I believe they do have a TikTok. I'm not sure if they use it to advertise basic needs services, because usually for the TikToks that I see, it's usually just like relatable to like students like experiences and stuff like that. They also do have other social media accounts and stuff like that. Yeah, they have someone says follow at Healthy CUNY on IG. So I'm guessing that's their basic needs, like that's where they advertise their basic needs services. But yeah, they do have a TikTok, but I don't think they use it to promote basic needs. And on IG at Healthy CUNY, they do use it to promote essential needs for students.
Yeah, like at Lehman, they have Lehman Care, and they always send out drafts and emails for students on how to be educated on resources like SNAP benefits, food pantry, counseling. But Lehman does actually have an Instagram where they do promote all their services.
Somebody also said to like partner up with other organizations doing the same thing. And earlier when I mentioned the SNAP enrollment and all that for one of the policies, I forgot to mention that that policy was also introduced by the Swipe Out Hunger campaign for the free hunger, what policy? Oh, the free Hunger-Free Campus Act. That's the policy that I'm talking about. And the Swipe Out Hunger is the organization that's helping enhance and enforce that policy. So again, somebody said in the chat to partner up with organizations that are doing the same thing. And so that's, yeah, that's, so that's what we should be doing also, like, you know, reaching out to organizations, taking part in like, a program like this, what Young Invincibles, like where we get to talk about these and, you know, present about these. And so doing stuff like that can make it better eventually. And yeah.
Someone said, yes, the collaboration between Health CUNY and Y would be dynamic. I would love to see that.
Is that all the questions? Oh, I think we're going
Yeah, is it? I believe it's all the question.
Did somebody read the question that says, where can I go to contact my elected officials about these bills?
Oh, I didn't even see that. Sorry.
Yeah, that was that was a question. So yeah, so we actually kind of had an assignment like this recently where we had to find out who our elected officials were. And so we had to get like their contacts and like know like everything about that. So what we did was we searched up the elected officials in our state, right? And so we would go to their official website or to find an email or something. And so you can also do that. So find an email, a phone number, and yeah, just send out an email and see the response. Any other questions, concerns?
Okay.
Thank you.
Then if there are no other questions, then that's it. Thank you. Wait. Oh, somebody said that connecting with HRA outreach team might also be helpful. So yeah. And somebody also said that that why I also regularly meet with Healthy CUNY and that they hope to help advocate for the CUNY Cares pilot program. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, any other questions, comments, concerns?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you, everyone.
Thank you,
yeah,
everybody.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining. Thank you for staying and watching.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here today and listening to our presentation. And I hope you guys got a lot out of it and are willing to take steps to advocate as we are. Yeah, anything else, guys?
Oh, please fill out our survey. Thank you in advance.
Mhm.
Okay, that's it.
We actually did it a little bit before 12. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait. Oh yes, we can drop the link again.
Um, Should we end?
I don't know. I'm just waiting to see if anyone, because like how somebody asked for the survey link, so just in case.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, some of them are leaving.
Okay.
Hey, hi guys, thank you. Oh, did you send the flyer? Green, the flyer.
Yeah, I can send it right now. Oops. Come on. Okay. Yeah, thank you. It won't let me attach the flyer for some reason. So I guess I'll just share my screen real quick to show the flyer. So this is our flyer for our survey. And so you can look at it, you can read it. Actually, let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. So there. And there's a QR code at the bottom if you need it, or you can just click the link. Guess that's it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a good
you.
Thank
day.
you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.